As young Roshni from JNU continues to battle for her life in the hospital, it's a cruel reminder once again of the fact that spaces, university spaces especially, are becoming spaces where young men and women, men and men, women and women interact with each other. And often such tragic stories happen. Of course, remember that story a few months ago of Mudassir and Wasim, which happened in Hyderabad. We discuss all of that on the social network today. Equal victims, unequal spaces, campuses seeing more gender-related violence committed on women, men, and on the self. You can tweet us live on our Twitter handle that's on your screens at the moment. It's at @TSN on NDTV. Do send us your comments and your questions if you have any for the panelists. Speaking of whom, let's quickly introduce our panelists for the day. In the Delhi studio, we're joined by Shivani, who's a member of the ISA, and she joins us from JNU in the studio. We're also joined by Sumiti Panikar, who is a PhD research scholar. She's written a very interesting piece on how Bollywood impacts young minds today. We also got with us Reena Nath, who is a therapist and specializes with couples counseling. From Hyderabad, we're also joined by Mohan Tharavat, and he is a PhD scholar from, in fact, the English and Foreign Languages University in Hyderabad, where that incident took place a few months ago in March, and he will be bringing us perspective on that. But I want to start with Shivani first. Shivani, Roshni continues to be critical. Yeah. There is obviously a sense in JNU now about everybody's, I know I was reading so much stuff which has been coming online, that everybody's really trying to come to terms with actually this horrific incident that's happened. There are many sections on social media which have actually attacked the ethos of JNU vis-a-vis this particular incident. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, very frankly, it is extremely shocking for all of us, because these are not the kind of instances, that happen regularly. But I would also not call it an aberration, because any university is a reflection of, it will reflect what the society.
All right, but let's return now to the social network. Shivani, I know you were talking earlier about, how this has left people feeling in the campus. Is there a sense about the fact that, perhaps relationships between men and women and students in general across the campus needs to be looked at a little bit more carefully?
See, like I said, JNU is not somewhere outside the society. It's not located on some other planet. So the kind of mindsets that we see every day, the kind of patriarchal, misogynist, or the kind of constructions that develop will, as nobody is suddenly going to become progressive as soon as they enter the gates of JNU. And there is a long process of engagement, dialogue, which transforms all of us eventually. But yes, the democratic space that JNU allows for interaction has been something that for over the years has helped both men and women respect each other as human beings, and also deconstruct, unlearn a lot of things that they had. Yeah. So while I learned to respect my male friends and deconstruct my stereotypes about them, they got to do the same.
Yeah.
So the space is there.
Yeah.
This incident is something which we are introspecting about as to what all could be done.
And what all should be done.
And what all should be done. And we agree it is against the ethos of what JNU stands for.
But Shivani, really interestingly, I want to try and understand, as somebody who also tracks social media very, very keenly and closely, is there a sense amongst the responses that you're seeing in the reactions that are coming in that they're also looking at that young boy Akash as a victim in a sense, or is he being painted out to be some kind of a demon?
See, I mean, instead of falling into the trap of either, the fact is patriarchy is oppressive for both. Women have been at a receiving end for it, and they are the one who are oppressed and suffer the most. But obviously there are certain kind of understanding, certain kind of notions of masculinity that are also demanded of men. So the kind of ego, the kind of I cannot take rejection, if I want a woman I must have her. And these are the things that have to be consistently challenged in our discourses, in our spaces, and how much we are able to democratize them. Yeah. So while, yes, men are also victims of patriarchy, but it's not same to say that, they are equally at a receiving end. We know how much more women have to suffer for it.
And in fact, a lot of that discourse, Shivani and Sumiti, who will talk about it, is being shaped by one of the most popular industries in India, easily one of the most popular industries in India, Bollywood. But, just before I come across to Sumiti, I want to actually bring in Mohan at this stage. Mohan, what's interesting as a contrast that's emerging right now is that in the JNU where such an incident has happened, there is a huge amount of introspection that's taking place about how best to tackle and ensure that these incidents don't happen again. But in the EFLU, after that horrific incident where Mudassir had to hung himself and committed suicide, a huge amount of the blame game, in fact, almost entirely was placed on the college administration about not being able to not even come face to face and address and recognize the fact that Mudassir was in fact not only coming from Kashmir, but he was also homosexual. There were so many labels that just never got talked about at all.
Yeah. I just want to say something that it's very sad news that we are discussing JNU's situation, and it's also like it shows that how JNU kind of practices the patriarchal and power relationships prevails in JNU. See, what I also want to say is that there are many suicides happen in India, in higher education, and that is like central universities. There were 15 SC/ST students committed suicide, and there was no news about it. There was no news, and nobody bothered about this situation, these suicides. And really, like now, when you talk about JNU, yeah, we can say that this is something that power relationship where it comes, and Mudassir's case is something like a very Kashmir, and Mudassir's issue is something that he was taken to the police station directly at 11 o'clock by the proctor, Professor Vijra, and it was directed by Vice Chancellor. And you see that how the education system also we believe in that Professor Proctor, and there were 3 complaints from the different to both friends, and they never had a proctorial board. And the Professor Proctor says him that you are a rascal, you are mentally retarded, you should be taken to the police station. So he has taken to the police station at 11 o'clock, Usmania police station. Then what happens, like he was taken to the campus, and then it was so sad that it was really sad that he was found dead. And when we really look into this whole problem, that we see different kinds of issues here, like Kashmiri, like how we see Kashmiri, how we see Northeast students. They are not secure in the city. They are not secure in Hyderabad also. You see that we have Maulana University, like there are some students from Kashmir, and they are really like, they are not safe. They don't feel comfortable.